as I was saying, most of us here are not new to spiritual life. This search for God, search for spiritual realization, it has been going on in our lives for a long time. In many of our cases for years together. And one common complaint that we find after years, several years, is, Swami, I've been meditating for years. I don't find peace. Swami, I've been praying for years, but I don't find a response to my prayers. Swami, I do puja, but does God really exist? So, are we actually making any progress in spiritual life? Are we getting anything substantial and real in spiritual life? Is a question that comes to us. Everybody. And that is a time when we must look back to the basics, the fundamentals of spiritual life. What is true spirituality? And what are the basic, the fundamentals which are necessary for an effective spiritual life? We're spending time, we're spending energy, and we have so much hope from spiritual life. How do we actualize that? How do we realize that? You see, a lot of time is spent in pursuits of the world. We all want to be happy. We want to get peace in life. We want to get joy in life. We don't want misery. And all our activities are prompted by that. How can I get satisfaction and happiness? And at first, we feel there are things which are attractive. Pleasure is attractive. You eat good food, what food you like, that's nice, it makes you happy. You go to a nice place and for a vacation, that makes you happy. You buy things, that really makes you happy. Shopping. Many people say, when I feel sad, a much more effective way of dealing with sadness is shopping. And all these things, they do make us happy, you cannot deny that. But we also see after some time, very soon we realize that none of this is permanent. All the happiness that we get from good food and partying and going on vacations and shopping and buying gadgets and cars and houses, all that is strictly limited, cut off as if were by time. There is an expiry date. There's an expiry date on the products you buy from the supermarket, but there's an expiry date on the joy that you get from buying it also. And the expiry date is much faster than the product itself. The joy that you get from buying that particular product is, often it is by the time you have taken the thing off your trolley and going to your car, by that time you already start feeling, maybe I should have bought that one. This is, especially here in the United States, it's always amazing to see these rows and shelves full of nothing but toothpaste and so many products. So often we find that where we search for happiness in objects, in things, in experiences, those things give happiness but very transient. And after that, time has gone, money has gone, energy has gone, life is going away, nothing permanent I've gained from that. And you start looking for better avenues of happiness. Then you look for something like happiness in a career, happiness in a relationship. There too, people get married and start a family, and then they take up a career of their choice and try to work hard, and they do find something worthwhile striving for, but again for a while. After that, we soon see the limits, that these things also are very limited. We don't find anything permanent. Shankaracharya writes hundreds of years ago, Dinamapi rajani sayam prata shishira vashanto punarayata kala kridati gacchati ayu tadapi namunchati ashavayu. He says, days pass, nights pass, spring has passed and winter has come, and another spring and summer will also come. Months and years pass. Time is playing, kala kridati gacchati ayu. My life is slipping away between my fingers. The young do not realize it so fast. But by the time we are in middle age, and definitely in old age, you get the sense that this is it. If you're a little sensitive, little thinking, this is it. My parents, my grandparents, my uncle and aunt, the life they had, I saw it was like that, and my life is more or less the same, and more or less what I was going to happen in my life has happened. Something more will happen, a variation of this, nothing very great. Even a person who wins a lottery, you might think that's tremendous. You know, somebody, there was a huge media thing, some millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars, a person will win in a national lottery recently. But a psychologist, a study shows, even a sudden affluence, we would think it would make a person happy, and it does make a person happy, but again, the level of satisfaction goes back to where it was. And a new set of worries and problems comes with it. So, none of this is permanently satisfying. None of this gives any kind of joy, lasting peace. And yet we feel that there must be something. There must be something. I remember many years ago in Gangotri, in the Himalayas, I used to go and meet a sadhu, he's a Punjabi, old Swami. He used to live in a little ashram near Suryakund, Gangotri. And this Swami, he was in his 80s, a wonderful old Swami. I don't know if he's still alive. I used to go and study the Ashtavakra Gita with him, and some other monks used to come. Very strange and motley group. You know, some of us were like this, dressed with shaven head. Some had long beards, and some were living in log cabins, huts, kutia. Some were living in caves, and so we used to gather together just before Bhiksha, where you get food. Before that, we would gather with this Swami, and he would teach us. So one day he told us a story that a few years ago, a television crew had come from the plains. They had come to Gangotri to take pictures of Ganga. And because the Swami had never seen a television, they wanted to show him what a TV looks like. So they put a television set in front of him, started a generator because there's no electric power there, and put the camera focused on the Ganga. And the Swami was able to see the picture of the Ganga. And he was telling us, we were sitting around his feet, and he was telling us, Mahatma ji, I'll tell you in Hindi and then translate. Sab dikhta hai, Ganga ji dikhti hai, kal shabd bhi sunai deta hai pani ka. Everything I could see on the TV set. I could see the Ganga, which you see here, the Ganga there is flowing in the TV. And you could hear the sound of the water also. You could see everything, it's wonderful. Then he said, I asked the TV crew, Babu, isse ek gilas Ganga jal dijiye humko. Sir, will you give me a glass of Ganga water? You know that we can consider Ganga water to be holy. So can you give me a little Ganga water from this wonderful TV of yours? And they laughed. And they said, Swami, you can't do that. It just looks like that. But it's actually, the Ganga is not there. It's a picture. It's a dikhti hai. Lekin isme hai nahi. That's what it appears, but it's not there. Then after saying that, I can never forget. Imagine the setting. He's sitting there, we are sitting at his feet, the towering mountains all around, glaciers running down, Deodar, the pine forests, and the Ganga, which is very narrow and fast if you have gone to Gangotri, flowing past about 120 feet below. That old Swami, he looks at us with twinkling eyes and he says, तो महात्मा जी ये जो सब है ना ये दिखता है इसमें सार कुछ नहीं है. All this you see around you in the world, all that you experience in the world, it's an appearance. It is not real. There is nothing permanent, satisfying here. There is, but not here. Not in this, what you see, what you hear, what you smell, what you touch. We start off by thinking the reality is here. This is real, that is real, these things are real. And so we try to get hold of these things. Gadgets, money, houses, cars, people. And we think we have got something real, so we will have real peace, real joy, real happiness, lasting. It doesn't happen. Why doesn't it happen? Because though it appears, it's like that Ganga in the TV. It appears. You can see it. You can hear the water running also. You can't get a glass of Ganga water out of it. You can't get it. सार कुछ नहीं है. The Hindi word sar means substance, ठोस, something real. It's not there. What is real? Then the search starts. Is there anything real then in life? And religion promises that there is something real in life. There is something real to be found, which, if we find it, will give us peace, satisfaction, joy, bliss, permanently. There is something. The Gita says, by getting which, yang labdva, by getting which, anything else will not seem greater than it. If you get that, you will not feel that there is anything more greater to get. If you get that, he says, the greatest of sorrows in this life will not shake you. So there is something in life. And every religion says that there is something. They call it God or Father in heaven or Brahma or Allah, or even the religions which do not speak about God. Buddhism speak about nirvana. There is a state to be achieved, a transcendent state. It's there. That is the promise of religion. That is the true religion, true spirituality. Why am I saying true religion and true spirituality? Because there's another kind which is not bad, which is conventional religion. And many people are religious in a conventional way. They go to church regularly, they go to temple, they offer puja, they follow vrat. Nothing bad in it. But what is the purpose there? The purpose in conventional religion, when I have a belief in God, what do I want there? That this life I have, this should be good. God should help me to have a peaceful life. My body should be healthy. My children should do well. There's nothing wrong in this. But see, we are using God for this. Where will I get peace and joy? From my house, from my money, from my children, from my body. What will God do? Helper. Like the city council in India, your municipality. One of the Swamis in the Himalayas used to say, भगवान को municipality समझ के रखा है क्या? You think God is a city council? Is the, I don't know what you call it in America, the local authorities who clean the trash and who do, so it's all privatized here. Anyhow, so is God like that? To give you a better life in the world? Does God give you a better life in the world? Yes. It is true. It is true. Those who believe in God and pray for relief from disease, blessings for the children, a good family life, success in the career, often they get it. Sometimes they don't. Often they get it, and there's a lot of belief in that. And a good deal of people, large number of people go to the temples and mosques and churches for this purpose. You think the long lines in India, Tirupati, Calcutta, Kalighat, Dakshineshwar, long lines. Are all of them seeking moksha and nirvana and God realization? No. Most of them are seeking something in this world. But something in this world, let my son pass the examination, let my daughter be married, or let my disease be cured, or let me, whatever, win the lottery or whatever. Something is there.
That is the municipality actually.
Municipality, yes. Asking God for favors in this life. Nothing wrong with that. Sri Krishna has clearly said, there are 4 kinds of devotees. The first kind is artha, those who are in pain and suffering. I have problems in life. I pray to God to help me out of these problems. They are devotees too, correct? There's nothing wrong with that. Then artharthi, those who are not in any trouble, but they want something. Money, success, something. They are also devotees. In India they'll say Puja chadao. They'll go and offer something to God, and God will in return. It's a barter. Yes, all primitive religion, good deal of it was like that. You'll find. We offer something to God, and God will take care of the crops, God will prevent diseases, God will defeat our enemies. Man needs a moral, spiritual support. Artharthi. The third kind of devotee is jigyasu. They are not in trouble. They don't want anything from God. But they are inquirers, seekers. Does God exist? Can I see God? They are seekers. They are sadhakas. Sadhakas means spiritual practitioners. They want to realize God. Narendranath, when he goes to Sri Ramakrishna and asks, he doesn't ask that, will your Mother Kali give me a job?
No.
He asks, can I see your Mother Kali? Can God be seen? Jigyasu. That is where what I call real spirituality begins. We really don't want worldly things from God. We want God Himself, or the ultimate reality itself. And the fourth kind of devotee, Sri Krishna says, is the Jnani. Artha, Artharthi, Jigyasu, Jnani cha. Jnani means the person who has already realized God, for whom God becomes a living reality. Not searching anymore, found God. And that person, Sri Krishna says, that person is the greatest devotee. If you get it's not like finding God as a target to be accomplished and then you forget about it after accomplishing it. It's not like you go to college to get an MBA degree. Now I've got an MBA degree, why do I need to hang around college? Let me go and do other things in life. God is not like that. That we will do a lot of meditation and tapasya and find God. Once it's done, now let me go on to the next thing. Not like that. I found this young man once in one of our ashrams in the Himalayas, in Mayavati, in the Himalaya, Advaita ashram. This young man, he had come from America. He had taken, and he was doing a lot of meditation, sitting there, reading Ashtavakra Gita and all. And he said, Swami, I'm worried. Why are you worried? Well, I'm trying, but I haven't realized God. I said, yes, but that takes time. It's an effort of lifetimes. And a little bit you practice, that much result also you get at the same time. He said, no, that is not my problem. My problem is I've taken leave for 2 months. After 2 months leave is over, after rejoin my job. And if I've not found God by... That is not how you approach God. I'll finish it off like a summer job, like an intern, and get back to my real thing later on. No. So Jnani, the one who has realized God, is the greatest devotee. He remains a devotee. She remains a devotee. Mirabai, for her God is real. All the time. She sings another, that beautiful bhajan, most famous bhajan of Mirabai. Mohe lagi lagan, Prabhu Charanan ki. So there she sings that Sukh gaya bhavasagar, fikar nahi mohe taranan ki. The ocean of this worldly existence, sorrow, suffering, disease, death, old age, all these problems, the waves, these are waves of the ocean. And we are sinking in this ocean. She says, I have no more fear. Why? Because this ocean of samsara has dried up. Sukh gaya bhavasagar. Fikar nahi mohe taranan ki. I have no fear of the waves, no fear of crossing over. That how will I cross over? And no more fear. Just found God. Got hold of God. But does that mean that she's, okay, now it's done, I found God, now let me go back to being the queen of such and such place? No, she becomes Divani, a lover of God throughout her life. So, that is real spirituality. The seeking God and finding God. This is the beginning of spiritual life, when we feel that there is an eternal reality. And everything else in life is non-eternal. Not non-essential. You need to have an education, you need to have a healthy body, you need to have a job to earn your living. If you're a Swami, the ashram will support you and devotees will support you. But if you're a devotee, who will support you? You have to work and earn your own money also. So job is also necessary. If you have a family, you need money for the children and everything. So that's necessary. But that no longer is the goal of life. That's not the purpose of life. When you make the shift internally, that is not the purpose of life anymore. All those will be there. But the central purpose of life is I am seeking God. This may be in two ways. One is I am seeking God, and some people prefer I want to know who I am. I am not so much interested in God, but I want to know the reality within this. What is this? What is the reality within me? That's also the same spiritual seeking. Because Advaita Vedanta ultimately says, when you find God, you find yourself. When you find who you really are, the Atman, you find God. You find God. As the Sufi poet said, that I searched for Allah and I found only myself. I searched for myself, I found Allah. So, that is the beginning of spiritual life. There's another, increasing group here. Today we find them. Yoga, Ayurveda, meditation, all these we are doing. We are actually practicing meditation. We are actually doing all kinds of yogic practices. But those also we are doing for the benefit of this life. Why are you doing meditation? Stress management. Patanjali Yoga, if you go to the original Raja Yoga, Patanjali Yoga, anywhere as he said, the goal is stress management. No. The goal is realization, enlightenment, nirvana, moksha, kaivalya. Highest possible goal in human life. I am not saying stress management is not possible. One of the very nice side effects of meditation is stress management. Stress level will go down, no doubt. But that's not the purpose. I am invited to speak a few months later at American Management Association. There is a big conference. What do I have to speak about? Management lessons from Bhagavad-Gita. Very good. No harm in that. But we must keep in mind the purpose of Bhagavad-Gita is not business management. The purpose, if you ask a traditional scholar in India, what is the objective of this text? Kya Shastra hai ye? What kind of Shastra is this? They will immediately say Moksha Shastra. Bhagavad-Gita, Upanishads, Patanjali Yoga, all of them are Moksha Shastras. Shastras meant for, scriptures meant for enlightenment. So, real spirituality starts when we are seeking God or you are seeking who am I. And the promise of spirituality, of religion is what you really want in life. Eternal peace, joy, satisfaction, and an answer to the question, what is the meaning of life? All these things you will get. You will get the answer to the question. You will get peace. You will get, in the words of the Bible, the peace that passeth understanding. A peace that can never be disturbed. You will get joy. Not only that, you will become a center of peace and joy for others. So this, all that I am saying in one word is called Viveka. It is called Viveka. Viveka means to find the difference between two things. Discrimination between the real and the unreal. Vivich Prithak Karane. Sanskrit means to separate two things. Not physically. In my mind, in my attitude, not only in my understanding but in my whole life. That the world comes to me in this form. There is Vedanta, there is the Super Bowl. One person might think, oh, Vedanta is boring, let me watch Super Bowl. Other person might think, I can do both. I'll watch Super Bowl, Vedanta, they will put on YouTube anyway, I can see. Another person, the third person thinks, let me go and attend the Vedanta talk. Super Bowl will be there, I can see the recording later on. And there is another person who says, I'm not interested in any more Super Bowl. I've watched many times. I have watched many times. In this life or last life. So I'm not interested anymore. Let me go for Vedanta. So you can see the gradations of Viveka. First person, Vedanta boring. Super Bowl interesting. No Viveka. No Viveka. The discrimination power is not working. Second person, the idea is there, he wants Vedanta, but the attraction to Super Bowl is so much, let me have that first, and second, later, Vedanta. I'll watch it on YouTube. I will do it after I am retired. Whatever age at which we get this Viveka, whatever age, childhood, youth, when you are at the prime of life, in your career, after retirement, in old age, whatever time you get this Viveka, clear feeling that I want to pursue God, that is the time to start spiritual practices in earnest. Old age is not that many people feel that I've become too old, I should have started earlier. That's a trick of the mind. The mind will introduce a note of regret into the mind that now it's not possible for you. Basically the mind does not want you to do spiritual sadhana. It will get any kind of regret, any kind of problem, any kind of excuse. There is a picture of Swami Advaitanandaji just above your head there. He was the disciple of Sri Ramakrishna who was older than Sri Ramakrishna. When he came to Sri Ramakrishna, he was older than Sri Ramakrishna. His wife had died and he was heartbroken. That's how he came to Sri Ramakrishna. And then he became a disciple. He became a monk. He was older than all the other young boys who became monks. He realized Brahma Jnana. He got Brahma Jnana in that life. It is possible. So Viveka, that is the preliminary condition of spiritual life. And then it must be followed up by Vairagya. Once I decide, I want God and God alone. Other things can remain. If you are in a household, you are in family life, you have to go on. Because if you neglect that, then your spiritual life also will be damaged. If you feel guilty about neglecting, some person came to Sri Ramakrishna and said, "Oh, I like this Dakshineshwar temple, you are here, Paramahamsa, I will stay with you from now on." When Sri Ramakrishna found out that the guy was married and had children and a wife to look after, he was quite rough with him. He said, "Who's going to feed your wife and children? The neighbors?" And he scolded him so hotly that the person finally decided to go back and do his duty. So one must perform one's duty. Arjuna wanted to run away from his duty. And he said, "I want spiritual life." At first, Arjuna had come to fight the battle for a worldly purpose. He wanted revenge on the Kauravas. He wanted revenge on the Kauravas. He wanted the kingdom. Now when he got Vairagya, I don't want all this. I want God only. So why should I fight this battle? Then Sri Krishna told him, that battle which you had come to fight here for your personal worldly reasons, for getting revenge on Kauravas, for getting the kingdom. Now you don't want all that. You want God. You want Atma Jnana. Now the same battle, same duty you have to do, no longer for your personal reasons, but as karma yoga. No, why? Why can't I leave everything and go to Himalayas and meditate? Sri Krishna said, you will not be able to do it, that's why. If you go away from here, you will sit in the Himalayas and dress like a sadhu and meditate, but your mind will be meditating on what? What is that fellow Duryodhan doing? Did my brother win the war or not? So you cannot. Mind will be going on with the world. To get rid of that, to purify ourselves, to rise above that level, we must perform our duty no longer for our personal gain, but the duty now, whatever God has given to us right now, the people God has given to us, the work that God has given to us, the setting that God has given to us, do the best that you can as a worship of God. Convert that work into sadhana, into spiritual sadhana. I don't want any worldly return from it. I don't even want thanks. I don't even want thanks. That is called Vairagya. I want God only. I don't want anything from the world. You know the first thing you see? Our foolishness is that we think wanting things and satisfying our wants is the way to happiness. Our whole life is a lesson which teaches us mercilessly that by chasing your wants, trying to fulfill your desires, you never ever get permanent happiness. On the other hand, this is the magic of Maya. On the other hand, the moment you let go, personal motivations, I will do it for the sake of others. I am doing it as a worship of God. I don't want anything from it. Clear it away from your mind. That moment you will get peace and a permanent, not a divine joy, but a permanent kind of happiness within. A freedom, a lightness. A lightness. We think possessions make us happy. Keep on accumulating, especially in this country. My God, stuff keeps on accumulating. It's almost as if the person is ejected from his house and there's a mountain of stuff. The moment you try to do without stuff, the lesser I have, the happier I am. You'll find actually it works. Actually it works. So Vairagya, this is the second thing. I'll end with this and then we'll do a little bit of question answers. That I do not want anything from this world, I just want my Lord, my God. In the beautiful book, Imitation of Christ, Thomas A. Kempis, I told you this last time also, it bears repetition. You see how Vairagya is manifest in our lives. When, in that book, as if he imagines, as if Jesus has appeared and telling him, how do I find peace? So the Lord comes and tells him, in his imagination comes and tells him, if you want peace, do these 4 things. Do these 4 things. What are these 4 things? First of all, always seek to have less rather than more. It's just the opposite of what we do. Always seek to have less rather than more. Let others have more. First. Now luckily the children have gone out, because I don't say these things in front of children. They need to go through experience. Second thing, always seek to be last rather than first. It's one of the great powers of Maya, which makes us compete in the world, push others out and try to go ahead. In matters of enjoyment, name and fame, have a little bit of experience. Little bit of experience is good. Experience will only teach you. Trying to be first in all things, little bit of experience is good. It will teach you that it will not give peace. It does not give permanent, lasting peace. But when you let others take the credit, let others enjoy, try to be last rather than first in matters of worldly enjoyment. Second. Third, even more difficult. Even more difficult. Always try to do the will of another rather than your own will. Let the wish of others be satisfied, not mine. We think by satisfying our wishes, by upholding our opinions, we will be happy. That's an immature way of approaching things. Just think about it. When your grandchild is present in front of you, a little boy or girl, will you try to win an argument with him or her? Will you try to force him or her to do things what you want? No. Your joy is in doing what he or she wants. They actually feel happy. You would want to. What does that little child want? I would like to satisfy the child. Imagine having that attitude towards everybody in your family, everybody in the world. Let me see. Ma Sharda had that attitude towards everybody. They're all her little children. So always try to fulfill the wish of another rather than your own. You will get peace. By winning an argument, nobody has ever got peace of mind. By forcing one's will on others, nobody has ever got peace of mind. By letting, not out of defeatism, not out of weakness, out of joy, out of love, out of compassion. And then finally, fourth one, in all things try to know and recognize and accept the will of God. Whatever happens to me in this life is the will of God. If I do believe in God, if I claim that I worship God and I believe in God, God is all powerful. Sri Bhagavan is everywhere and all powerful and all knowing. So whatever is happening in this world, does he not know? Does the Divine Mother not know what is happening? What is my problem? What is my suffering? Does she not know? So if she knows and it is happening according to her will.
Yeah.
Definitely. Even what I cannot accept, that is happening to her will. Try to understand that it is the will of God and accept it. These 4 things, very quickly. Always seek to have less rather than more. Always seek to be last rather than first. Always seek to do the will of another rather than your own will. And in all things, know and accept the will of God. Yeah. This is the manifestation of Vairagya in life. Vairagya does not mean simply running away from home and putting on geru and becoming a monk. That is one aspect. Real Vairagya comes in life when these things are manifest. You are letting go of the world and holding on to God. Holding on to God. Okay. I am done. Please ask questions about spiritual life.
It's very hard sometimes to accept what is happening in my life or somebody's life. It's very hard to accept. And sometimes you have to think yourself that maybe I deserve this. That's what is coming to me. Like otherwise there is no way. Doctor cannot cure you. You cannot go anywhere to get yourself, all these things. It's better to accept it, what is coming.
Absolutely. Accept the will of God. And you see, there are 2 ways. A devotional person, bhakta, those who love God, they will surrender to God. This is by thy will this is happening. This is the will of the mother. Now how to make it a little easier, I have seen in the lives of great sadhakas, they not only accept it internally, but the pain which you have, the tears which come to your eyes, in private, you offer it to the Divine Mother. like a child. Child will run to the mother, this is hurting. I understand I have to surrender. I understand body will become old, disease will come, others get diseases, so why should I not get disease? What is so special about me or this body which will not get a disease? I understand all that, but when it hurts, it really hurts. It's really difficult and really you feel helpless. That is the time to hold on to the mother. Like a child holds on to the mother. Privately, cry to the mother, this is hurting. And now you do what you want. Mother, it is your wish. I will only hold on to you. That is the devotee's approach, bhakta's approach. The jnani's approach I found in Himalayas. See, I am Brahman, everything is God, that's fine. But when problems are there, you're a monk begging for food, one day you don't get food. You're a monk, tremendously cold, shivering in your heart. You're a monk, you get fever. One monk, he slipped and fell in the cave where he was there. Nobody there. I still can see that place. It is above Gangotri also. The nearest neighbors are a family of bears, Balu, who stay in a nearby cave. And that monk, he fell down, injured his back, and he cannot get up. He's lying there taking the name of God. Luckily some other monks came to see why he has not come for Bhiksha today. They found, but how to take him to the hospital? Nearest hospital, Uttarkashi. Hundreds of kilometers away, several thousand feet down. They waited, finally they got a vehicle, a police vehicle which was going down because it was the winter time. Ice everywhere, snow everywhere. They lifted him and he was telling me that when they went down the mountain, this roads narrow and sharp turns and swerving, every swerve was like a death-like pain would shoot through his body. Every time the body is swinging, the car is swinging up. What to do then? So their attitude is, because they are sannyasis and jnani, attitude is there. Their attitude is what you said, whatever it is my karma. What I have done, sometimes, some life this is coming, it's good that bad karma gets exhausted through pain.
Yeah.
Let me suffer. What is there? Pain was not there earlier, pain is there now, after some time pain will not be there. That is another attitude. And if you can combine both attitudes, very good, powerful, double dose. Yes, there is a question there.
Really, thank you for visiting us here and giving us a beautiful jnana here today. I watched you on the YouTubes and really liked what you said in IIT, I think it was Confined. What is the nature of this, of God, that we are, when we find that we know we have reached God? Because we're seeking this, because Patanjali said yoga is for chitta vritti.
Nirodha.
So, but once you control that, then that's a technique by which you actually go somewhere. It makes sense that the goal is mukti.
Yes.
From this. Now, so how do we know when we reach it?
Yes. Now, there are two questions here. What is the nature of this God which we are seeking? What exactly is it? That's one. The second one is, how do we know we have reached it? Alright. Now, what is God if you ask? It's a profound question, and I had talked about the most profound answer I found to this question. Here in Austin, last year, you will find a video defining God. It was recorded here.
Yeah.
So, the most profound definition, there are different ways of approaching the concept of God, but the most beautiful and highest and most sublime and most sophisticated definition of God I found, God as existence and consciousness. So, that I discussed from the Taittiriya Upanishad last year, and you find it in the video.
It's on YouTube. Yeah.
Defining God. It's on YouTube. You can search Defining God. There's a lecture there. And but that's very philosophical, very sophisticated, very deep. One more point I'll mention about that is, before I go on, is that recently, right now in fact, I'm reading a book called The Experience of God, Existence, Consciousness, Bliss. David Bentley Hart. He is a Christian theologian. And he's written this book. He says, the real concept of God, the most profound concept of God is what the Hindus called Sat Chit Ananda. And the whole book is on that. And he uses the word Sat Chit Ananda. And he says, of course, it's not just Hinduism. Ultimately, in all the religions, the best conception that we have been able to get of God is this one. The Hindus only have expressed it most precisely, most clearly. And that is the topic of this book. Now you come to Patanjali, for example. Patanjali says, by meditation you realize God. Now his approach is that Chitta Vritti Nirodha. It's a technique, as you said. Calming the waves of the mind. Now what do you achieve by that? So if you look at the next sutra, these are sutras, little Sanskrit sayings. Yogas Chitta Vritti Nirodha is the second sutra. First sutra is Atha Yoga Anushasana. Now we are expounding the discipline of yoga. Second sutra is Yoga. What is yoga? Yoga is calming the waves of the mind, making the mind silent. Chitta Vritti means waves in the lake of the mind. What are these waves? Not water. Thoughts, emotions, feelings, even perceptions. You see something, hear something, touch something, feel something. All of them are vrittis. Even now you are listening and thinking, there are vrittis in your mind. Now calming all the vrittis, making the mind silent, but not falling asleep. Complete silence of the mind. That is yoga. Another term for that is samadhi. Samadhi. Asampragyata samadhi. But that's a technique, as you said. What is it meant for? What will happen then? The next sutra, a very profound sutra, it says, Tada, then, when in samadhi. Tada, drashtu swarupe avasthanam. The seer, drashtu seer means S-E-E-R, the knower, remains in its own nature. Literal translation. The seer remains in its own nature. Seer means you. I. You remain as you really are. Swami Vivekananda says, imagine a lake. And there is a bottom of the lake. You can see through to the bottom of the lake if there are no waves on the surface of the lake and if the water is clean. Two conditions. No waves on the surface of the lake and if the water is clean. Because if the water is not clean, even if the lake is steady, you cannot see, it's muddy. Even if the water is very clean, but if the water is disturbed, wind is blowing across the lake, you cannot see the bottom of the lake. So, calming the waves, Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Clear water, purity of mind. Purity of mind. Purity of mind comes from giving up all those desires which we talked about today, Viveka. Viveka and Vairagya. Giving up the worldly desires. It makes the water clear. And yoga makes the waves silent. Now, what happens then? Swami Vivekananda says you can see through to the bottom of the lake. We can see ourselves, realize ourselves as we really are. This is Patanjali's view. At other times what happens? If in yoga, in samadhi, we see ourselves, the drashta as it really is, what happens at other times? When we are not in samadhi, when now we are now. What happens to the drashta then? What is the problem now? The fourth sutra says, Vritti sarupyam itaratra. At other times, you, the drashta, the atma, the purusha, inside the ultimate reality, pure consciousness, it becomes identified with the modifications of the mind. Anger, I am angry. Who are you? I am that which is angry. Memory comes up. Who are you? I am Sarvapriyananda. Are you pure consciousness? I don't know. I am Swami Sarvapriyananda. Memory. What is Swami Sarvapriyananda? The bundle of memories. And the I has become identified with it. Vritti sarupyam. Whatever coming up from the mind, from the world outside, we become mixed up in it. You silence that, you remain as you are. And that is spiritual realization, enlightenment in Patanjali Yoga. That is the purpose. How do we know we have reached it? Well, what is the criteria? The criteria in Vedanta is Atyantika dukkha nivritti paramananda praptischa. All your sufferings will be at an end and you will attain permanent bliss. By knowing yourself as you are, how do you transcend suffering? Because if I am pure consciousness, untouched by this body, untouched by the problems of the mind. Just imagine, where are the problems? The problems are in the world. The world of Maya, there are problems. The problems are in the body. The problems are in the mind. If I am not the body, not the mind, I am not them. Does the disease in another person's body affect you? You may be sympathetic, but you don't feel the pain. Does the depression, anxiety, fear in another person's mind affect you? Not like that, how it affects that person. Because they are not your body, not your mind. If you realize yourself as not this body and mind, you are free. It's not just a matter of words, if you actually feel that. So that is the criterion. Can I honestly, sincerely say from within, I am beyond all dukkha? Can I honestly say that I have the joy, the peace that passeth understanding? I've got it. I don't want anything in the world. I've got the highest. That is the criterion. One more question.
Yeah.
Tell me, what's the time? When is Arati?
8:30, Maharaj.
Oh, we have got a lot of time.
Yeah.
Is this clock all right?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
The second point was first and last. Can you expand on that, what you meant by that?
Which one?
Peace, you said there are 4 criteria. Second point was don't hanker for the first, except the last. What do you mean by that? Can you-
Oh, always seek to be last rather than first. That one?
Right.
From the imitation of Christ. There, the idea is lot of our anxieties are because of this worldly tendency towards competition. I must be first in everything. I must get this job. Or my son or daughter must get the highest grades. If necessary, by pushing everybody behind. Yeah, I know. Yes, but see, that is not bad. That's why usually I don't tell this to young people. They need to get ahead in life when they have a little bit of experience of life. Competition is good also. Bit of it. But if you are still competing till the end of your life, there is something wrong. You see, it's good to be born in a church. It's bad to die in a church. We must outgrow it. We must learn. The word compete itself is very interesting. If you go to the roots, I think the Latin roots, I was reading somewhere, we understand competition as pushing others behind and going ahead of others and getting something which others will not get. A job, a promotion, a grade or something like that. Or admission into the best universities. But the original meaning of the roots is to excel. Com means together. So compete means to excel together. I am running. By myself I may not run so fast. But if 2 others are running with me, I will put my best effort forward so that I can check myself. There are benchmarks for me. So I perform better. The goal is to excel, not to defeat others, not to grab when there are few things where I'll grab it, others will not get it. That is what has become the meaning of competition in our lives. But the real original meaning was to excel. So to that extent competition is good. But competition should not be the goal of life. Competition is not the goal of life. Achieving heights together, cooperation. Help yourself and help others to achieve. That is good. So, let others get what they want in worldly sense. Once I have had my fill, how many more promotions do you think will make you happy? How many more pay raises? How many more cars? How many more houses? How many more vacations? Time is going, getting older. Definition of insanity is to keep on doing the same thing and expecting different results. I tried to get money, job, promotion, better house, better location, better education for the children, hoping ultimately it will make me happy. It did not. Now I keep trying to do that again and again. Insane. If it did not make you happy the first time, it will not make you happy now. So, always seek to be last other than first means you are with God. You are searching for God. The worldly things, as far as possible, let others enjoy. More you let others enjoy, more happy you will be. More at peace you will be. Yes.
But that is quite in contradiction with the way we live,
Yes.
with the way we earn our livelihood.
Yes.
So this contradiction that is so acute in some societies such as here,
Yes.
how, and that's why I see, MBA people, Swamiji is going to MBA programs and teaching about relieving stress and
Yes,
using
yes.
all these things. But I think that's abuse of this knowledge, because this message is samgachatvam, samvadatam, sambhomanati
Yes.
jantam. So given that, I think that this cannot be solved really in this system.
Yes,
Which is
this system, especially it is acute in a country like the United States, which is a free market capitalist society. But here also, at the height of your business schools, in your corporations also, the people that you look up to, they are coming to this understanding. You want to achieve excellence, market dominance, whatever you want, you do it together rather than in competition with others. You want to get excellence in your company, help people to excel rather than have a cutthroat competition where you what do they call it? Rank and yank. Rank people according to their performance, and then the bottom few, no matter they have done well, but still you throw them out because they are not up to that level. Ultimately, those companies which did it, they did not succeed. They did not succeed, they failed. Rather than the companies which helped other people through education, through training, through support, helped their own people to grow, they succeeded. So always it is more sustainable to take people with you rather than to compete against people.
Actually, something very interesting he just said, I don't know if, one of the most popular class at the Harvard Business School is actually not a business class, it's actually a class called How to Be Happy. This is taught by a professor.
Tal Ben-Shahar.
Exactly. Israeli person.
He is a psychologist, Tal Ben-Shahar,
Oh,
and he teaches this class. You can find some of it on the YouTube also. He started with I think 5 or 10 students.
Exactly.
Now it is the most popular class in Harvard Business School. In Harvard, several hundred people take that course, and no classroom is sufficient to accommodate everybody. So they have to rent auditoriums, theatre halls for a class, not a lecture, class.
I'm not surprised because that gives you shanti,
Yes,
right?
and that's what
This
we are seeking.
definition of competition that you just said,
Yes.
first time I heard, but in common regular work, I see that as the way go forward, right? It's not just killing somebody on the way.
Yes.
It's samgachatvam, that is
It might be the first attempt, my first understanding might be that I might push everybody else, grab as much of the market as I can. But a more mature understanding is to help others too. One of the, in India, somebody was telling me, a whole shift in the relationship between this, I'm going into business management, but just one example. Whole shift in the way a company had with its suppliers happened with some Japanese company, Toyota or somebody else. Earlier what used to happen was, you send out bids, people who give the lowest bid and the most attractive one, they will be selected, other suppliers are left out. And if they don't satisfy your criterion, they are thrown out, then you get another supplier. But what the Japanese car manufacturer did was, they take a supplier and then they help that supplier, train up that supplier, give them equipment, give them even financial support necessary so that they can produce up to the quality that I want.
Oh, yeah.
See how wise that is. And it seems that has become the industry standard now.
That's not sewer something it's called.
I forgot. Yeah.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, I think that's the way. But somehow that message hasn't morphed the society yet.
Servant leadership. Greenleaf, Robert Greenleaf is, you will find, is a management consultant, expert. His whole idea of leadership is not to lead others, to dominate others and get work done through others. Rather, he says, the philosophy of leadership is to be a servant. It is a little difficult in India, not here, but in India because the word servant is not a good word in India. So people don't want to be servants. But he says it's a noble word. Servants means service. And he says, Swami Vivekananda, yes, I gave several talks, it became quite popular in different companies in India. They wanted talks on that, servant leadership. Swami Vivekananda, 100 years before, more than 100 years before Greenleaf, he writes It's no easy thing to be a leader. One must be a servant of servants. The least show of leadership destroys everything by creating jealousy. The moment I see I am the CEO, now I'll buy a private jet and I'll have an exclusive top floor office, corner office. Immediately each of those is signal to others that I am better than you. Who will like that? And it's how foolish. You want those people to cooperate with you and work for you. If you upset them, who will work for you?
It's very interesting that Swami Vivekananda was the first person who initiated philanthropy in US by Rockefeller. Then others followed, Ford, Hughes, and now we have
That's a
Buffett.
huge thing.
Yes.
Now all billionaires.
Everyone is following it.
Yes, it's a great thing. People who don't like super rich people, but you see what many of the top billionaires are doing. They're donating 99% or more of their thing completely to charity. And many of them, Warren Buffett and others.
So if I summarize
Bill
the
Gates.
one thing that if I can take this, it all comes to them, everything is around detachment, right?
Yes, but in detachment you must know what to hold on to and what to let go. There is an ultimate spiritual reality which is within us, which is already there, which I want to hold on to, want to get that. That we have covered up with wanting things in the world. Let go of those things, you will find what is there already. Without holding on to that, in a devotional way by holding on to the Lord, in a philosophical way with path of Jnana Yoga, to know that I am already complete. So I don't need things to complete myself. A king who wants to dress himself and puts on a clown's uniform. How foolish is that? He's already a king. By putting on a clown's uniform, he has limited himself, reduced himself, made himself an object of ridicule. If you are existence consciousness bliss, if you are that already, if God is within you, your true nature is God, is divine, then I want to be happy with little more money, more cars and more promotions, with a healthy body. I depend on the body to make me happy. It's an insult to my divinity that I depend on the body to make me happy. Body has been created, it will exist and will go in its own way. So, detachment with love for God, attachment to the spiritual reality. Now we are detached from the spiritual reality and attached to the world. That is our problem. Reverse it and it will work. Reverse it and it will work.
Maybe that's the last question because we have Arati
Arati,
to perform.
yes.
This is the last question.
Coming back to what is God,
Yes.
Patanjali is defining in the Ishvara Pranidhanatva, in that sutra, is Klesha Karma Vipaka Ashayihi Aparamata Purusha Vishesha Ishvara. That Purusha Vishesha there, is that he is referring to really Purushottama in the 15th chapter of Gita?
Alright. Now see, it's a technical question. We must remember, Patanjali Yoga is one of the systems of philosophy. The 6 orthodox systems of philosophy, Astika Darshana, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Sankhya, Yoga, Patanjali's Yoga, and Purva Mimamsa and Uttara Mimamsa, Vedanta. Now, Patanjali's conception of God and the Vedantic conception of God with which we are all familiar, they are different. The conception of God with which we generally are familiar in all religions is the creator of the universe, all-powerful, omnipotent, who controls everything in the universe and whom we worship, who gives us our what we want. It gives us and fulfills our desires, and finally gives us moksha, something. So that is our conception of God. Patanjali's conception of God, Ishvara, in yoga philosophy, Ishvara in yoga philosophy is not the creator of the universe. In yoga and Sankhya, the creator of the universe is Prakriti. So Ishvara in yoga philosophy is a Purusha, a pure consciousness entity just like us, but different from us because already and ever perfect. But not God in what sense? Vishnu, Narayana, Shiva, Kali, Durga, Allah, Father in heaven, not in that sense. That kind of conception of God, Patanjali does not accept. So there is a technical difference. Purusha, Vishesha in Patanjali Yoga is not the Purushottama, philosophically speaking, conceptually speaking, of Gita. Purushottam of Gita is Brahman of Vedanta. This is a philosophical distinction, and it's good that you ask this question. Remember, it is not all same. Each of them has a unique philosophical structure. Sankhya has its own approach, Yoga has its own approach, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, in Vedanta, Dvaita, Vishishtadvaita, Dvaitadvaita, Shuddhadvaita, Achintya Veda Veda, Dvaita, and Advaita. They all have their own approaches. Now you say immediately, which is correct? All of them are correct because all of them are valid in the sense that they help you to reach the goal. Technically speaking, they are pedagogical. They are ways of attaining reality. No, which one is actually correct? You see, because God is infinite, none of them can be actually correct and complete in themselves. No system is perfect. As an Advaitin also I will say, even Advaita is not perfect. But beyond that we cannot go. There is a limitation to language and thought. Human intellect and human language have a limitation. I think Advaita Vedanta, for example, is a very sophisticated and a very subtle system, wonderful system. But Brahman, the reality, that exceeds Advaita Vedanta also. It is not confined within Advaita Vedanta. So all these approaches and all these religions are all valid and good and unique paths to God. Yoga is one path, the path of Bhakti is another, the path of Jnana is another, and these are different philosophies. They are all true. They are all true. It's a good idea. Why I am saying this is, many of you who have come from India, you have come directly from a culture where even if you are not so much interested in religion or spirituality, it is there in the air. It's there in the culture. Now when you come to this country or any other country outside India, and children grow up in a different culture altogether, so you ask a question, why should we do Saraswati Puja? The question never occurred to you or me, because it was in the culture there. Now, the parents themselves are not equipped to answer these questions, because we never asked the questions and never really explored ourselves. So we don't know what the answers are. It's good for them to be a part of an organization like this, which can educate them, which can take the place of Indian society of a guru or a teacher, which can introduce them to this material. You should encourage your children or the children of relatives and all to spend some time here. I have seen the good effect it has. Many who have grown up here, who were never in India, but they know quite a bit about Hinduism, about a little bit of Sanskrit, a little bit of mantras they chanted, a little bit of puja they know. And it's a valuable thing you are handing over. One of the greatest things that parents can hand over, other than their estate, is the spiritual, cultural estate which they are inheritors to. We here represent the most ancient living culture on this planet. The most ancient culture. There were other cultures who were contemporary, they have all disappeared. Not one survives. Unbroken tradition from Vedic, pre-Vedic times till today. This is what we inherit, and we can pass this on. Sanskrit is a key which unlocks these treasures, and you can do something to pass it on to the next generation. It's a very good idea. Yesterday I was in California, in the University of Southern California, and I was talking to the Hindu students there. They are gathered, and their organization, I heard, very interesting. It started because a Jewish rabbi told the Hindus that now the number of Hindu students is increasing, you should have your own organization, because otherwise there are a lot of problems which will come. I am not talking about the problems, but many problems come when young people are growing up in a society without any idea about the glory of their heritage. So it's good to be part of such an organization. But wherever you get it, you should encourage children to. As much as you participate, that much itself is worthwhile.
Quick comment I have about the Vivek. Vivek is emphasized everywhere. Yes. In Ram Samartha Ramdas, of course, Vivekanand, Vivek. So, now the tools of Vivek that we need to go through in order to get that Viveka Buddhi. Right from children, you just mentioned, children need that. We teach them through culture and everything. But the tools that are needed in order to get that, accomplish that, all the way up to the spirituality, like the technical issues that we discussed about that Vivek to accomplish. If you can sometime discuss about the tools, how we get there, and the best tools that we can offer to the society and the children, that would be great.
One of the things is this one, this organization where
Okay.
At least you get acquainted with the materials.
Right, right.
When you know, then Viveka will come. What are the alternatives? Viveka means choosing, making a decision. When I know the alternatives, then I can choose. If the one side of it, our culture, our religion, we don't know about it also, how can we choose? It's not available to us. If it's available to us, then I can choose.